Alrighty, now we're gonna figure out how to draw this dresser right here. Drawers are hard. Correction, drawers take time. So if you want to create a dresser, I know some of you may have done a closet, so you might have added a door in your room, which is a really simple, rectangle that you just make sure you follow the orthogonals if it's on the side. So if those of you who chose a dresser and have drawers that you need to draw, this is a really helpful video for you to get started. Now, one thing that I do want to note is in my room, it looks like I'm running kind of short on space, doesn't it? So I don't have any more back wall space, so I can't start drawing my dresser on the back wall. So I'm probably gonna have to put it on the side wall over here. So I probably want to give myself a little bit of space for my desk before I have my dresser. So I'm thinking that this corner edge of my dresser, so I'm thinking right here, because my dresser is facing the opposite direction in my drawing, which doesn't mean that I can't draw it. It just means that I have to think a little bit harder as to how it's going to look. So if I am drawing my dresser on this wall, I need to figure out, as before, how tall is it? And you know what? I think it's about as tall as my desk is. So I can actually use an orthogonal line right away to give me an idea of how tall I want my dresser to be. So I'm going to draw an orthogonal across here. So that's how tall my dresser is going to end up being. And I'm going to use a vertical line to connect my mark where I wanted the corner of my desk to touch the wall and how high it is right there. Nice vertical line. Okay. Now, what kind of lines am I going to need to finish this edge right here? You got it. I need some horizontal lines and a vertical line. Some lines that are showing me that it's parallel with the floor, but it's not coming towards me. And then a vertical line to connect it all together. Just like my bed, I started with a rectangle and then I built this way. I started with a rectangle and I built this way. I'm still kind of starting with a rectangle, except for I took my bed and I turned it sideways. Actually, my dressers actually kind of look like this. See how the bed looks right now? I just turned it sideways. I'm just starting with a rectangle that's taller than it is long. Okay, so this is what my dresser is going to end up kind of looking like. So let's see if I accomplish that after this video. So I'm going to be using some vertical lines and some horizontal lines to finish this. So let's start with some horizontal lines to build it away from this wall. I'm going to line it up with the edge of my paper, line it up with my corner, and then build it out a little bit. I don't think my dresser is super deep, so I'm just going to do it about that far. Good enough. And then I'm going to use a vertical line to go straight up and mark the front edge of my dresser. Straight on up. Always remember to keep these light because I might not keep some of these lines. So make sure that they're light enough that if you erase them, you don't notice they're there. Artists are really good at hiding their mistakes. And then a horizontal line to finish it up. Erase that little bit that I'm not going to need. Erase this little bit that I'm not going to need. Okay, and now I'm going to start building my dresser so it's coming towards me. So I'm going to be using orthogonal lines. When a line's coming towards you, when part of my object is coming towards me, it's still parallel with the floor, which is right here, an orthogonal line. So I'll make sure that it's using an orthogonal line to build them up as well. So I'm lining up my triangle right here on the vanishing point, line it up on the corner of my dresser, and then having it build so it's coming towards me. Do the same thing with this top edge to mark the front edge of my dresser. Line it up on both. Orthogonal line coming towards me. Beautiful. Okay. So the next thing I need to do is figure out when this thing is going to stop. Okay. It depends on how much clothes I want in there. If you have a lot of clothes, maybe you want it to be a little bit bigger. If you have a secret closet that, is hiding on this wall on this side that we don't see because we're standing in the doorway, well, then all power to you. You can have a small dresser. So I'm going to stop at about right here. Okay. So since I have a vertical line connecting these two orthogonals together to show the front edge of my dresser as shown here, I need to do the same thing on this opposite side. So I'm going to connect it with a nice vertical line. And then I'm going to finish that with some horizontal lines going from this orthogonal. And actually this might, we'll see how it goes. Oh, it goes right to the corner of my wall. I don't want to go past this line right here. That's my line that marks the division between my wall and my floor. I do not want to go past that line. Otherwise, it's going to make it look like I'm building my dresser into my wall or that it's floating. That'd be really weird. Okay. So that corner is very important. And then another vertical line coming straight from that corner until this other orthogonal. And then if I did my measurings just right, a horizontal line should finish up this edge really well. If it doesn't, it means I made a mistake, but it looks like I'm in good shape. So now I can erase all my extra lines. I don't need this line anymore. I need this one because that's the floor. So don't erase that one yet. Okay. And I can erase this line right here because I don't see through my dresser there. I do not see this line. So these ones can all go away. So I should have something that looks kind of like a sideways bed, but on my wall. Okay. See how they look very similar? Now it looks like a bed. Crazy how perspective works. It all depends on how you look at it. All right. So now here comes the tricky part. We got all these funky drawers and stuff. Now, before I even add my drawers, notice that there is some thickness to the top edge and the bottom and the sides of my dresser. Because my dresser is not made out of paper, it's made out of wood. So I need it to look like it's a little bit thicker. So that's where I'm going to just go in and add some thickness to it by adding an additional vertical line next to my existing vertical lines. And then I'm going to be adding orthogonals. We don't have any horizontal lines on the front of my dresser. Okay. See how that adds a little bit of thickness? And then use an orthogonal to connect them together. This just gives the illusion that there is some space between the edge of your dresser and your drawers. Makes it look more like a believable object. Okay? So that little outline I did matches this outline right here. Okay? Very important to notice. Okay? It's hard to see. It's easier to see on this side, but there is a little bit of a space right here between my edge and my drawers. Wonderful. All right. Now the next thing to do is I notice that my drawers are divided exactly in half. Okay. If I draw a line exactly in half right here, like the distance from here to here and here to here are the same, I'm doing it wrong. Okay. Because what happens to items as they get closer to us? They get bigger. So that means the width of this set of drawers is going to be narrower than this set of drawers. Now your question may be, Sour, how am I going to make it so that it looks like they make sense? How do I find the actual middle in this thing? Watch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go across and connect my corners of the front. And then I don't need to go all the way across. I'm just going to make a little line in the middle. Imagine when we first started this room and we did our diagonals from corner to corner. That's what we're doing. These diagonals will show you at the intersection point where the halfway point is on your dresser. Okay, so this line right here, okay, this little point where the intersection happens, that's halfway. Notice how this half is smaller than this half. And that'll be more evident once I draw my vertical line through that intersection, going straight up. Okay, erase my extra line, erase my extra lines. There you go. See how this half is narrower than this half? That gives the illusion that they are coming closer and that they actually are the same size. Okay, now to finish it up, we need to figure out our drawers right here. Now these are nice even drawers. Now, since this vertical line is not coming closer to us, it's not getting bigger on one side than the other, so I can actually divide this into actual thirds. You can either measure this or you can eyeball it. If you're not good at eyeballing, please measure it, okay, or ask a friend to. So that marks the space in between my drawers. It looks like I don't have any gaps in between my drawers. It looks like there's a crisp line, so I can just draw a line in there. So I line it up on my vanishing point and I line it up on my mark that I made. Draw it across. Line it up once more. vanishing point to mark all the way across. And I have nice, even drawers. Then I can go back and add other details such as the knobs on it. And sometimes it's nice to make sure that those are going straight up and down versus just winging it. So sometimes you might want to add your details and be really picky about it. So my knobs. And I'm just going to freehand the rest of those in there. One thing that might be helpful to you is if you use an orthogonal, those handles should line up with each other. Should be on the line, should be on the line. So that's another thing to keep in mind. Okay, they need to be in the middle between the top and bottom of your drawer. Otherwise, they're going to look really funky. Okay, and these knobs also get bigger as they get closer to you. That's another thing to keep in mind. So that's how you draw a dresser with drawers. Now keep in mind, I did mine on this side and it's touching this wall, but you can have it on this back wall. You can have it on this side like a bed. Just keep in mind that first exercise that we talked about. My dresser that I made looks a lot more like this cube, where I'm able to see the top and this front edge, as you see right here. Okay. If I did it straight back, I'd only see the top of it. If I did it off to the side, I'd see these edges of it. Okay. 1-point perspective has very simple rules, so just make sure you follow these same rules. No matter what, every time you put something in this side, it'll always have the top and this side showing. Okay. So this procedure is still the same regardless of where you locate it in your room. So I hope this is very helpful, especially if you need drawers. If you had to do a desk and need to figure out how to do the drawers in there, I hope this was helpful for you as well. Happy drawing.